Welcome to the Eerie Story Vault. Every like and subscribe helps create more original stories. Let's begin this tale. The Strawberry Skin Diary. I have not left my apartment in 2 years, 4 months, and 13 days. The last time was when the fire alarm went off, and even then, I only made it halfway down the emergency stairs before retreating back inside. The thought of all those people huddled on the street, their eyes potentially meeting mine, was worse than any fire could be. My daily routine is precise. Wake up at 2 p.m. Check all 7 locks on my door. Microwave whatever instant food is closest to expiring. Spend 6 hours coding for my remote job. The company thinks I live in a different country, which explains why I never attend video meetings. In reality, I live just 3 blocks from their office building. That was my life until I noticed the first spot. It appeared on my inner thigh, a reddish patch with an unusual texture. The surface was bumpy, like a strawberry's skin. I documented it in my observation notebook, the same one where I record the behaviors of the pigeons that visit my window ledge. I have named each pigeon based on their walking patterns, though I never say the names aloud. My supervisor once tried to make me return to the office. I spent 72 consecutive hours composing emails explaining why that was impossible. The first email was professional, discussing my productivity metrics and remote work statistics. By email 23, I was detailing how the alignment of office furniture according to feng shui principles would disrupt my coding efficiency. Email 37 included a 15-page analysis of electromagnetic frequencies in office buildings and their effects on human consciousness. The final email, number 49, was just the word no repeated 10,000 times. He never contacted me again. The strawberry patch grew larger each day. I started extracting the seeds that appeared, black dots rising to the surface like digital pixels manifesting in real life. The process became part of my routine, slotting in between checking my door locks and organizing my expired food collection. I keep everything that expires, neatly arranged by date. The oldest item is a can of corn from 3 years ago. Sometimes I press my ear against it, imagining I can hear the contents decomposing. New patches appeared on my skin, each following the same pattern of development. Red, bumpy, seeded. The sweet smell began to fill my apartment, mixing with the usual stale air and instant ramen scent. I stopped ordering fresh groceries. The delivery people had started leaving notes asking if I was okay, due to the sickly sweet odor seeping under my door. I switched to a different delivery service and added leave at door, no interaction required in the special instructions, along with a 3-page explanation of why knocking would disrupt my circadian rhythm. My coding output improved during this time. Something about extracting the seeds helped me focus. I would line them up on my desk, arranging them in patterns that matched my programming syntax. Sometimes I would spend hours organizing and reorganizing them, losing track of time until my computer screen showed another day had passed. The company praised my productivity, unaware that my fingers left tiny bloodstains on my keyboard from where the seeds had been. I started dreaming about frequencies. Not radio frequencies like a normal person might, but patterns of seed growth beneath my skin. In my dreams, I could feel them forming, each one a pixel in a larger image I couldn't quite make out. I began documenting these dreams in a separate notebook, using a special code I developed that only made sense at 3 a.m. The patches spread faster after I received an email from HR about required quarterly team photos. I responded with a 70-page document explaining how photographs steal fragments of the soul, backing it up with references to quantum physics and several Wikipedia articles I had edited myself. They assigned me to a different project manager instead. My apartment adapted to my changing needs. I covered all mirrors with old takeout menus, arranged chronologically by order date. The walls became a canvas for my seed collection, thousands of them glued in spiraling patterns that made sense only to me. I stopped using my bed, preferring to sleep in my computer chair where I could monitor both my skin changes and code compilation errors simultaneously. The sweet smell grew stronger, but I had long since stopped noticing it. What I did notice was how the seeds seemed to vibrate at certain times of day, usually when I was deep into a coding session. They would rattle in their collection jars, creating a rhythm that matched my typing speed. I recorded these occurrences in my third notebook, the one I keep hidden inside my oldest expired cereal box. One morning, or perhaps it was evening, time had become abstract. I received an email about mandatory psychological evaluations for remote workers. I spent the next 36 hours creating a program that would automatically respond to all company emails with randomly generated excuses. The code was perfect, but I had to delete it after realizing it was seeded with the same pattern as my skin. The delivery person changed again. This one was persistent, always trying to engage in conversation through the door. I responded by slipping notes under the door, each one containing increasingly complex mathematical proofs about why human interaction decreases code efficiency. After the 43rd note, which included a detailed analysis of how eye contact disrupts neural pathways, they finally stopped trying. My skin continued its transformation. The patches merged and spread, creating larger areas of textured red surface. I developed a system for harvesting the seeds, using different tools for different body areas. Tweezers for the easy ones, sewing needles for the deep ones, and a special dental pick I ordered online for the ones that grew in spiral patterns. Each extraction was documented, photographed, and added to my growing database of skin anomalies. The company's annual virtual holiday party approached. I prepared for weeks, writing scripts that would simulate connection issues at precisely timed intervals. But when the day came, I instead sent everyone a detailed analysis of how virtual celebrations contribute to the decay of digital consciousness. The attached spreadsheet contained formulas that, if viewed at the right angle, matched the pattern of seeds across my back. I started talking to the seeds at night. Not out loud, I haven't used my voice in months, but in binary code tapped out on my desk. They seemed to respond through subtle vibrations, though this could have been a side effect of my irregular sleep patterns and the expired energy drinks I had been consuming. I documented these conversations in my fourth notebook, which I keep inside a hollowed-out programming manual. The patches now covered 67% of my body's surface area, according to my calculations. I created a program to track their spread, using thermal imaging software and a modified webcam. The patterns they formed began appearing in my code, subtle at first but increasingly obvious. Functions would compile into strawberry-shaped clusters of pixels. Error messages contained hints of sweet-smelling syntax. My productivity reached new heights. I completed 3 months of work in 1 week, though my commits were flagged for containing unusual comments about skin texture and seed patterns. I explained it away as an experimental commenting system based on organic growth algorithms. The technical lead was impressed enough to stop questioning my methods. The seeds started falling out on their own, making soft clicking sounds as they hit my keyboard. I collected them in old medicine bottles, labeling each with the exact time and location of extraction. The bottles lined my windowsill, arranged in a sequence that spelled out binary messages visible only during certain phases of the moon. I knew this was important, though I couldn't explain why. Last week, my upstairs neighbor knocked on my door, complaining about a sweet smell. I slipped a 50-page manuscript under the door, detailing the historical significance of fruit-based odors in urban environments. The next day, I found the manuscript had been returned, but the ink had changed color, and all instances of the word strawberry had been replaced with coordinates to places I've never been. The patches have reached my face now. I can feel the seeds forming beneath my skin, following patterns that match my coding syntax with uncomfortable precision. My reflection in the computer screen shows a constellation of black dots waiting to be harvested. I've stopped attending even text-based meetings, communicating solely through commits and pull requests that increasingly resemble my skin's texture. Yesterday, I received an email about an in-person award ceremony for my coding contributions. I spent 18 hours writing a response explaining how physical manifestation in corporate spaces violates the laws of quantum entanglement. Somewhere between paragraphs 800 and 900, I realized I was typing in seeds instead of letters. The email sent itself before I could correct it. The sweet smell has become a presence, a roommate that never sleeps. It whispers in binary during the small hours, suggesting optimizations for both my code and my seed extraction techniques. I've started dreaming in strawberry patterns, waking to find my fingers stained red from unconscious harvesting attempts. My latest project involves creating an algorithm to predict seed growth patterns. The code works perfectly, but each successful prediction results in new patches forming in the forecasted locations. I've stopped running the program, but the predictions continue, written in seeds across my skin like living documentation. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If this story resonated with you, please leave a like, it really means the world to me. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you'd like to join me for more original tales. And I always love reading your thoughts and experiences in the comments, they truly inspire our next stories. See you in the next one.